Okay, guys, so yeah, this is going to be a really fun one. Our materials that we're going to use, I've got my kitchen sponges. I already have them cut into smaller pieces. I think they were a whole one like this, and I just cut into pieces. I sometimes like that where they're smaller. We're going to use some cotton swabs to do this, and then we're also going to use a smaller brush. Now, if you had more just like one of these medium round brushes, but it still comes to a point, that can work too, absolutely. This type of brush is very usable as long as you, to do small things, as long as you do very light pressure. But if you feel like maybe you might push too hard, because if you push hard, that'll make a wider spot, and switching to a much smaller brush is also a good idea at this point. We're gonna use our basic colors again. We've got our yellow, we've got our red, we've got our blue, and then we've got our black and our white. And make sure you got some water. I've got a rag here for drying off my brush. It's not going to be as easy, I will say, for the Q-tips. The reason we've got so many of the cotton swabs, you may just have to switch stuff out because you don't rinse those. And then the same for the sponge. The sponge needs to be moist, like it's bendable and stuff, but not where I can squeeze it and get any water out. See, I'm squeezing it really hard. Oh, I got a couple drips, but not too much. So it just needs to be a little moist. And we're gonna get started. So we're gonna do the background with the sponge. So that goes in really fast, really easy. I'm gonna put the example over there. Let's see here. Make sure you guys can see that part.
Oh, you have it in portrait versus landscape, right?
Yeah, we're going to do portrait this way, the up and down instead of landscape.
Yep.
So we're going to do it straight up and down. That's actually going to kind of have us bring our flowers more together on top of each other instead of having to spread them out over that. And then we also get to have more vertical space for those white dots that we see. So that kind of is really nice with that vertical space that we'll have. So to do kind of this teal color that we've got in the background, we need to go ahead and put out some colors. We're going to put out some blue on our plate here. And my blue's getting near the end, so it's bubble spitting at me right now. Don't need a ton of blue. Blue is a very strong color. I mean, we'll still use blue for other things, but also pull out some yellow. And we're going to pull out some white as well. Doing a decent amount of white because white, if we're getting a lighter color, we always end up using more white than we do the color itself if we're trying to make sure it's nice and light. So we'll just start with those three colors right now. So then I'm going to grab my sponge. So my canvas is an 8x10 canvas. It's the same as the example. So my smaller sponge is going to be fine for my surface. If you have a larger canvas, that would probably be good if you wanted to do a larger kitchen sponge. Maybe the whole width of a regular sponge will be fine. So I'm going to, first I'm gonna grab some of the blue right there. And now I'm gonna go over to the yellow. And I'm really gonna kind of mix and start trying to get this teal color. So a teal is gonna be a little bit of yellow, a little bit of that blue, but that makes a really dark color. You can see how dark that is. That's super, super dark. So that's where our white comes in. And it's always nice to be able to kind of pull from the edge. You see how in the paint, I'm kind of just not, instead of dipping in the center, I'm just pulling the color that I need from the edge of that. So I've gone to blue, I've gotten a little yellow, and now I've gotten some white. And I'm not going to worry about super mixing it, but I did want it to be lighter, right? Maybe I'll grab a little more of that teal because this bottom part is a little bit darker teal. It looks like I've got a bunch of colors on my sponge. That's okay. We're going to just start just start putting it on here. The scariest part about painting is always looking at this blank empty canvas and what am I gonna do? And instead we're just gonna start putting some color down. So I'm going to just start pulling color. And that did end up being about the right color. And this I'm doing kind of crisscross, different directions. I want to have some movement, some different streaks in it this time. That's going to kind of give us some different movement for this background. So I ran out of the paint, so I'm going to go back, blue, grab some yellow, grab some more white, and see if I can start going against this again. There we go. So yeah, so I'm just kind of crisscross, going in different directions, and I'm leaving, you can see I'm leaving some of these streaks. It really looks kind of neat. It's gonna add to almost like there's other stuff going on in the background. Now, as I'm moving up, I want to start getting it lighter. So maybe this time I've still got some color on here. I'm gonna grab more of the color and some more white as I come up in here. Maybe even, no, I'll go, yeah, a little bit of white this time, and I'm going to get it to start lightening up as I get up higher. So kind of this midpoint that we'll have our flowers, it starts to get lighter, and that will not be as noticeable. And of course, you can always go over top. See, I'm going over top and blending that with the darker. Maybe even this time, I'll grab a little bit more of the yellow. And as you see, we can't rinse out our sponge. We just keep adding color to it. Maybe I'll have it so there's a little more streaks of kind of like a yellow. You see how there's like more of a yellow tint right there, but it'll kind of streak in. I'm not pulling any more blue right now. I'm just pressing the blue that's already in the sponge. And that's the great thing about the sponge too, is that we can just kind of squish it, squish the color out. There we go. Also, a great thing about a sponge that we've always found that we love is doing the edges of these canvases. All you gotta do is just kind of scrub it right up and down instead of trying to balance a brush. And I can go ahead and get that edge in. So we're just trying to get in a rough background, kind of some movement, just making sure everything's covered. You know, if you find some little white spots, go back over. Oh, I didn't get that corner. Here we go. So that is good. And then I can turn my canvas and get all the edge. There we go. And that goes so fast with the sponge, like really super fast. Every time I do it, I forget and wish that I did this for all of my paintings. I should just keep a sponge handy, and that should be my edge sponge, because that's done. There we go. Well, I had a couple little dark streaks right there. You know what? It'll be fine. Or if I don't like them, then I just go back over with a little more white. There we go. All right, I am going to actually rinse out the sponge. So I've got my cup of water right here. I'm just going to take it and kind of squeeze it, or I can even just kind of sit it in the water right now so that I know it's not going to harden. Once it hardens, we can't really use it again. And it's nice not to have to keep repurchasing that. Soaking it in some rubbing alcohol. I have done that for brushes. I've not done it for sponges as much, so I'm sure it could still work, but I don't know how much rubbing alcohol it would take to soften up a sponge, honestly. All right, I'm gonna just check in with everybody and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we've got our basic background in. If yours turned a little more green, you might have added too much yellow, but you can just add a little more blue. And we were just looking for making sure that it was just a little darker down here and it got a little lighter. That's just kind of the basic part. The next tool we're gonna pick up now are the Q-tips, the cotton swabs. Okay, and this is actually where it starts to look really kind of funny. Looks a little weird, but it's okay. We're putting in the basis for these flowers. So the reason these flowers pop so well against this background is that we actually do a bunch in white first. So we're going to do a bunch of white using our Q-tips and just making some interesting shapes, okay? I will say some of these flowers, I didn't even know that they were gonna look like that. I was just kind of using the Q-tips and making some type of flower type shape. Later on, what we do is we're gonna go in, add the color, and then we're gonna use our thin paintbrush to go in with the black and really start to outline it. And that's what makes everything pop. So this is just this background layer so that we can put color over top of it. So you're gonna take the little cotton swab, dip it in white. And our flowers, like I said, they're gonna kind of just be right here in the center. So some are gonna be up kind of in the lighter area, some will be kind of down here. We still wanna make sure we leave room for the stems. So just think of it as just kind of this middle band, this middle third of our painting. A lot of our paintings we do in thirds. So there's this top third, middle third, and then this bottom third, okay? So let's see here, what's some of our shapes? Let's look. And of course, I'm gonna be putting them in different places. I'm not gonna try to completely duplicate it, so I want you to kind of look more at the shapes. What's great about also the Q-tip is it's already round. So as I push it and then I can just do it in a circle, it's gonna make a very good circle, right? So I'm gonna set that down right there and then just wiggle it around and I made a circle dot. That's pretty easy, okay? Maybe this time I'm gonna do a dot, another dot beside it. I'm gonna do 5 dots connected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom, that's a flower shape, right? I'm gonna get you guys closer so you can see, because it's gonna start to kind of spread out. But you see how it's just, I'm just using the circle part of the cotton swab to help me make these shapes. I like doing these bigger circles. Those will look like an interesting flower when we add to it. Let's see, I'm gonna come in here. Maybe this one's gonna be like a zigzag up and down. That's, okay, that's a shape, you know, that we'll add to. I will say sometimes the cotton swab will get a little hairy on you. You can always just kind of twist it. I'm just kind of twisting it on the plate to kind of get that back down. Or if it starts to get too much, you can always switch to the other side. But maybe this one, I'm gonna go just lots of little dots. And maybe I'll build another flower shape like that with the cotton swab. So you see what we're doing is we're building a garden. This is our garden with just a variety of shapes. Maybe now I'm doing a little flower like that. You see, so some of these shapes, they're gonna look very similar. Sometimes it's just gonna be a dot. Sometimes it's gonna be like maybe we'll do a really big one right over there. Maybe we'll do a really big, I really like right here in the center one. That one was looking really weird at first when I did it, but maybe we'll do another one. I'll do a nice, so I'll kind of swoop, kind of do 5 swoops this time using the cotton swab. There we go. They kind of ran into each other. That's okay. I will distinguish them later. Yeah, so then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do another big circle right here. So you see how we're just gonna build these shapes. Build all these little flower shapes. And we will be adding, and then even just a single dot. Just a single dot, maybe a single dot right up here, maybe one right there. And we can start to fill it in all these different things. Maybe another little cluster one right there. That looks kind of funny, but it's okay. It's all gonna come together. All right, so we're just doing the shapes, Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll say that this one's over top of that one because that's how it's going today. Again, adding these little dots, that's actually really great if you want to fill that in. Some of them we may leave white, some we may not. Maybe I've got another little cluster one down here. And you see I'm still kind of just in this middle range. Maybe I've got one right here and it's only got 4 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how are we doing? We're doing lots of weird kind of shapes and things that are going to be flowers. They're going to be flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little one in the center. So that's what I liked about this one. It's really about some shapes, and then when we go in and start adding in the colors, everything really starts to pop. So that's starting to, I'm looking between the 2 different ones. I'm starting to like it. Having a little one kind of like down here kind of draws our eye down, and then if we have one that kind of pops up top here, it kind of will break it up from all being in the middle. You know, it's giving us some variety and height, because flowers in a field are all different heights, right? They're all different sizes. And maybe one more of those little, I don't know. I don't even know what some of these flowers were that I was modeling, but I mean, it worked. Okay, I am going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there. So we have put in the base of a bunch of different flowers. And actually, I do realize that having this brush is going to be really good if you did have it. If you, again, only have just this small one, this will work too. But being able to put in some of the color with a little bit like that round brush could work as well. So we've got both. So you know what? We could sit here and try to wait for all the paint to dry, which is okay, but also the way that the white could kind of mix as we put on some color will actually kind of make it look really cool too. So that's what we're gonna do. I don't have any red on my plate, so I'm gonna go ahead and at least get some red out. And then I'm gonna check and see if I have access to some clean yellow. It looks like I can get some clean yellow from this corner right here. I can still get to some blue. I've got some red here. I've still got some clean white I can get to. So those are my colors that I'm going to be grabbing from. And as you see, we basically are gonna stick with some of the primary colors being themselves, maybe doing a little bit of mixing and doing some variety with that. But really, it's just gonna be about putting in some color now. Just gonna put in some color. So, oh, the other thing too, what also makes these flowers pop so well is we're not intending to cover all of the white. Okay, we're gonna try to see if we can leave a little bit around the edges. So we're gonna put in color, but it's not all the way. And I'll demonstrate right here with this big one right here in the center with my red. So I'm gonna grab some red and I'm going to put some color on it, but I don't, and it's gonna mix a little bit. Like I said, it's still a little wet, but that's okay, honestly. But I'm going to the edge, but do you still see our white? You can still see a little bit of the white right there. That is really kind of neat because this makes it look almost like a cartoon version of it. I don't know. It just makes it like a very pop graphic version of these flowers. And then we kind of still have that extra detail that we did by doing that. So maybe I just go in and I add that red right there, you know? Although I could have added some yellow. I may have to go back with a white center on that one. So maybe I'll come over here to this circle and I just put in a little red, which when it mixes with my white gives me a lighter red, and that's okay. Let's see, where else? Since I've already got red on my brush, right? Where else can I do red? Let's see here. Maybe I'll do this one right here. Like I said, I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm going to leave a little bit. Leave a little bit right there. Maybe we want to make a little bit darker red, and I grab a little bit of blue. Maybe I grab a little blue, and I decide to come here and dot this one. I don't know. Maybe I do that. See, some of this, it's not going to be exact. Maybe it's just putting just putting the color on there and kind of almost smashing it, kind of like what we're doing with the Q-tips. If you wanted to, you could probably even use some of the Q-tips again to put that on there. This time I did remember to leave my center white if I wanted to go back with yellow. Maybe this time my center will be a black center. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe it'll be like a poppy. I don't know, it's fine. Okay, I rinsed out my brush because I want to switch colors, and I'm going to go with some blue now. So my blue is a really dark blue. So honestly, adding just a little bit of white will make it easier. So I've got the blue, I'm adding a little bit of white, so I've kind of got this medium blue. And now I'm going to go back in some other places. And what I do like about this, I really do like about this, guys, is it's not going to look the same. Yours is not going to look exactly the same as mine. I'm just teaching you a way to do this, but I fully expect some extra freedom of expression on this one because it's so cool and so pretty. So as you can see, so I've got some blue. I've got some blue going. Maybe I go really light and add a lot of white on one of them. And I really kind of make it a lighter blue one. Sure, why not? Let's see, maybe another one right here. I'm also seeing, as I'm choosing which ones I'm doing, I'm kind of just making sure and spacing out my colors. So right now I see I've got a lot of blue right here. Maybe I'm going to go back over here. Maybe I'll add one. This circle one needs to be blue, right? And let's see, what else? What can we do? Maybe this one right here. Got some blue. Well, I've got blue. I'm going to go ahead and add a little yellow. I'm going to shift it to green and maybe do, so now I've got green and maybe some white and maybe shift some to like a green color. There we go. Just adding colors. Adding some colors. If your green ends up looking a little too close to your background color, you can always either add more blue or add more yellow. Just kind of shift it away from looking exactly the same so it will still stand out. Ooh, that became a turquoise. I think there's a turquoise flower. Well, there is in my garden now. That works. Maybe one right there. Okay. I'm going to rinse because I want to really, really rinse well because I want to get some yellow. And yellow will really pop on the white that we've done. see here. Maybe I'll do this one. And some of these have started to dry, which is nice. So we're gonna maybe just do like little spikes on this. Just kind of, I like the yellow ones for these. I don't know, what, kind of like a tulip type shape. I don't know. If it feels a little too bright yellow, you can always add just a little touch of red and shift it. We can always shift it to a little bit of a peach color, right? And let's see what else. There's that one. Go. Ooh, I like this little dot one. I'm gonna just do dots on there. Yeah, that looks good. And then maybe that one. There we go. And kind of smash that. That'll actually kind of add some texture too, so that's kind of neat. All right, so we're just going through adding in some color. Yeah, if we want to do more of an orange, just grab a little bit more red with our yellow. And then I'm gonna, if you kind of pull towards the center in different directions, that'll be all the different petals that you need. You see that? And like I said, halfway through, this starts looking like a little bit like a kindergartner painting. Like this looks kind of like a hot mess. It looks a little funny. It really does. It's like, is this actually going to turn out to be anything? Yes, as someone that did this already, this will turn into something. I promise. I promise. I promise. Jess, you disappeared. You okay? Okay. So yeah, now let's see what else. Maybe some more red. I don't know. Maybe more yellow. I think I'll do this one yellow, and then I'll start shifting over. I don't have much blue over there. Maybe I'll do some more blue. We're also going to layer in a few other colors in some of the centers of these flowers as well. And maybe their center is not a yellow. Maybe they have a blue center inside of a red. Maybe they have a green center. So we're going to just kind of just keep layering the colors. I haven't done a really dark one. There we go. All right, I hope everyone's doing well, that you're not getting stressed out because it looks kind of funny and we're just kind of putting in colors, putting in the colors. Remember, we're still kind of at the, I would say we're at the middle layer of this, at the middle layer. Middle layers can look really weird because they're missing a lot of the detail that we like about the regular painting, right? So it's missing some details that maybe we're like, man, I really liked that part of the painting. Well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. All right. So I've done color on all my dots now. All my spots, all my dots that I put up. So I am gonna go back right now, like I said, and maybe I'll add some centers to some things. So maybe like I left this center white. I'm gonna add some yellow to that center, right? Maybe If you do want to add some white and you forgot to, you can always do, not white, if you want to add some yellow. You can always add some white to it and it will show up a little bit better. So do a light white and then I can still go back in, see, and do a center right there. Same for my red one right here. I really wanted to do that yellow center. I just need to add white to the yellow to make it visible. Here we go. Let's see. Maybe, yeah, maybe another little, I think I'm gonna go around with the light white yellow and just put in some centers. There's one, maybe I'll put a dot right there. Maybe this one gets one. So kind of putting in some centers into flowers.
Miss Tiffany,
Yes, yes.
did you fill some in all the way or just keep some white out?
I'm keeping some white around the edge. So
Okay.
even if it does cover up some of the way, that's okay. But I'm intentionally leaving a little bit of white to kind of make that pop graphic art statement. But if you didn't, I mean, that's no big deal. All right, I've grabbed some dark blue this time. I'm gonna go and do that as a center in some of the other spots, right? Let's see here. Ooh, maybe in that one. That looks really kind of neat. So now as you see, we're starting to add a little bit more detail by putting some centers, and by it being a different color, it might stand out. You know, some of these blues could have a light green center. Maybe it's got a light green center. Sure, I'll make a really, really light green now. So I've got this green and I'm gonna add a lot of white to it, make it a really light green, and I'm gonna come right here and put it in the center of that blue. Here we go. Sure, why not? Maybe that same color can go right there with this red. I don't know. So just adding a little center to some of these circles adds another layer. But really it's going to be where yours were going. Okay, I think I've added enough middle layers. Okay, are we breathing? Are we doing okay? It's not as scary as it seems because we are still kind of midway. We're kind of midway, but the details will make everything pop. I promise. Okay, we're doing all right.
I had to wait for mine to dry, so I'll be a bit behind.
It's okay to go ahead and go on it while it's wet. Some of the colors may kind of blend a little bit, but it'll be okay. So I was working here. I'll even get closer. It looks at farther away, it looks good, but I'll show closer. Some of mine look really kind of like blobs. Look at that. That one looks like a blob right there. That's okay. So I was just going ahead, putting color into this one that's kind of more splotchy. I will show you how that's going to come together as we add the detail later, so that's okay. Everything's good. So the next part, we're going to still use our round brush. This is the part where if you'd like to switch to more of a skinnier brush, that would be fine. I think I might actually stick with my medium round brush and just go with some light pressure, which will get me the same results. So what we're going to do right now while our flowers are drying, because it would be a little easier if they're more dry, is we're going to go ahead and do the stems, which will be just down on the base. So we need some black paint. So I've already got a little bit of black paint out, and I'm going to dip my brush, get it wet. In fact, my paint, as you can see, it doesn't run. It's not very runny at all. It's a little bit thicker. So I'd like it to be a little bit thinner. It'll go easier if I do that. So all I have to do is just add a little more water to my paint, and I don't water it out too much, but it does make it does spread more. See, I can make a line a lot easier for me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be coming to our flowers, and we're gonna be attaching the stem and then just doing a small line down, and it's not gonna be straight. We're gonna kind of swiggle it. And so these ones that are down here at the bottom, we're gonna see more of those stems. Maybe up here, we might only see part of them. They might actually disappear behind some of the other ones, but I'll just go ahead and start getting started. So I'll start with this blue one right here. I will say that it attaches right here in the center, and I'm just gonna squiggle it down like that, okay? And maybe this one, I want to actually attach it here kind of more on the side. And so it looks like it's almost bending. You see how that one? Wherever you attach the stem, it will tell a story of what the flower is doing. And so this one, because I attached it more on the side of that flower, it looks more like it's kind of bending and kind of tilting a little bit, right? And maybe this one. And it's okay if it just kind of trails off. We're not even getting it all the way to the bottom. So some of these, they're going to kind of trail off, and maybe it only stops midway, right? These are not going, they're not just a big line and all having to connect. The grass is actually that whole background. So it doesn't have to go all the way down. This little red guy, when I was doing him, he looked really funny too. So maybe I'm gonna attach the stem here. You see how maybe now he looks kind of like he's just a little bending flower? So this is a great solution to kind of a weird shaped one, is just attach the stem at a different point on the flower. And then maybe when I come up here, I'll do some little ones, but again, it's not going all the way down. This one, okay, I'm starting to here, let's see, I'll need to, let me keep some of these going. All right, so those are kind of my bottom ones down here. Now, as I'm gonna get up here, I'll show you maybe this one, I'm attached, I'll let him come down here a little bit, but he won't go all the way down. All right, maybe this one, again, won't go all the way. Maybe this one goes a little bit. See, maybe that one just goes a little bit right there. So this, we're gonna just keep adding. Maybe this one is longer right there. Okay, this red one, I know I made him really kind of funny. I think he's got a sideways attached one too. Maybe he's a bent one as well. So I'm gonna attach it right there. See, any one that when you made it, it looked kind of sideways, well, attach it and say that it is sideways. Done. Like that. Now all of a sudden it looks like that flower was supposed to be this way, and it's fine. It's a little neighbor right here. Maybe he's kind of beside, right? Doing some this way. So these back ones, they're kind of gonna squiggle down, maybe fitting in between some of the flowers, but not really too much. But you can start to see we're just gonna be building. This whole painting is about building these layers, right? So these stems are barely going past this first row of flowers. As you can see, they're just barely going past. Maybe they're not even going past at all. Maybe they kind of disappear behind another flower. We can't even tell where it goes. I like it when they have the little squiggles and the lines. So I like doing them. We have lots of different character. Get some more black. Do this one. He's kind of leaning in. This one's kind of leaning that way. Yes.
What color did you use again?
This is just straight black.
Okay.
Just the black color. So the only thing I'm making sure is that every flower dot that I did is attached to a stem. So I'm just gonna go through, make sure I didn't miss any. I get all of them. Oh, nope, I didn't get that red one right there. Here we go. See, even I can miss one. There we go. There we go. This is also where I can go back in, and on a few of these stems that have a lot more room, I can do a leaf, right? So I'm gonna just swoop up, swoop down. Right, let's see here, swoop around that way, actually. There we go. Yeah, let me try that again. I was saying different words than what I was doing, so that didn't make as much sense. Let me try it again, hold on. So I'm gonna go around to a point, go around the other way, kind of to a point. I'll draw a center line, and then some little lines to just be part of that. And I think it is easier if they are tilting a little more up. From my sideways painting angle, sometimes mine look a little different, but it's not going to be terrible. This is just a very characteristic garden that we're making. So there's not really any rules. We're just kind of just going with how it feels. Going with the flow on that. Maybe one more. Sure. The other thing, so our flowers should be drying. The other thing that you can start to do if you're done with your stems is what we're going to actually do. What makes these pop is I want you to go back and I want you to line all the flowers in black again now. So watch this. It's very interesting. It's not something that you knew was happening in the original painting, but as soon as I go back and I line this in black, right? And make sure that I got the paint flowing well. And now maybe I actually go back inside here and I go around that. And maybe I go and I outline the petals. Suddenly that looks a lot different, doesn't it? That is the graphic. And that'll also help you shape some of these flowers that maybe looked kind of wonky before. Look at that. As soon as I outlined that one and then just did a little circle, it looks more like a flower now. So just going around, trying not to cover up the white that we were leaving, but it's okay if a little bit is covered up. And maybe I go around the center with black. So we're just going to go around and we're going to outline a lot of these. So maybe with this one is kind of like a zigzag up at the top. This is where I add kind of like some spikes, this weird shaped flower that I did before. And then I'm going to do some lines going up. Look at that. You see how I did like some zigzags and then just some little lines? So you see I've done these flowers. I've done this one. I've done these. I haven't done these yet. So I'm just going back with the black. And I'm going around. So this is also if you really feel like you lost some of the shapes or you want to add more shape to something, this is the perfect time. This black right in there. So I'll go around this big red one right here that I have. So I'm going to go around it to define that flower with the black. I'll go around the center. And then I might just go around and just go around some of the petals. Like that. Now, petals have got a little more definition. And this is not an exact, in fact, what makes this look really cool is by going and not thinking too much about it. If it overlaps a little bit, it's okay. I promise you can spend way too much time worrying about making it look exact. I promise, mine are overlapping. Mine are showing so I can see more of the white. Some of it is missing some spots. This is not about making it look exactly like anything because we're already creating flowers that aren't really close to nature anyway. That's not the point of this. We're just going around. So look at this, 1, 2, I'm just going around and around. And then maybe I'll just do some little lines around some of the petals. Boom, that's it. Not gonna fuss. Ooh, I wanna show you this one, the little dot ones. That's a really cool one to do also. So I'm gonna go kind of like little loops around it. And then I'm gonna do like little smiley faces around where I want the petals to be. You see that? Look at that. That's really cool. Look how the black, I did these little half smiley faces in that puff one, and now it made it look more like a puff flower, right? Whereas with these, I did little lines. So we're just going in and adding these little detail lines, and that's what's making it pop. You see that? See how this is that step that is going to get us from feeling like it's a kindergarten painting. Maybe I do a swirl. Look, maybe I do a swirl in the middle of one. Look at that. If you've got a bigger flower, maybe there's a swirl right there. You've got the room for that. So I'm just gonna keep following around my flowers. These little circle ones. So cute. Maybe I put a black dot in the center of one of it. If I didn't have enough room for a center before. Maybe now it's got a black center dot. Again, if your paint is fighting with you, if it's too thick, adding a little bit of water to thin it down just so that it will come smoothly off your brush is a tip. If yours is already more of a liquidy one, then you probably aren't having as much trouble as me. Look at that. I didn't even go around the center very well. I'm just going to keep it like that. That's fine. So I'm just going to keep going around. Like I said, I'm doing this medium brush, which means I'm having to do a little bit lighter pressure. If you're finding you're getting too thick with your lines and you want to go with a smaller brush, that is absolutely fine. I guess I've had a little more practice now, but when I first started painting, I was not very good at understanding that lighter pressure that you need sometimes. So it is okay. The tool that works best for you is the best tool in this situation. There is
So we do the black stems first, then
in the centers. Yeah, the black stems were just to allow the flowers centers to be able to dry, because doing the black over while they were still wet was going to be tough. So that's why we went ahead and did the stems, right? Added in a few leaves, just kind of sporadically wherever you feel like that. I may end up adding some more later, but we do have some other things for filler where we'll go back with some white, some more white dots. So this is just going fast. Adding some. Yeah, I have no clue what these yellow flowers are, but they make me happy. So that's all that matters. I have no clue what I was thinking when I created them, but maybe they live in Dr. Seuss land. Maybe they're that kind of flower. Maybe they need their own name. And this one never out of center, so maybe it's got a swirl. Right. I'm hoping that you're not stressing right now. I'm hoping that you're breathing. I'm hoping that you're having fun. I'm hoping that you're seeing that every little flower that you get a chance to try to do something different, because each one is unique, and that it is just something fun. We're having warm weather. We're seeing flowers bloom outside right now, and this is just our fun way to be part of creating our own flowers and not stressing about that they have to look a certain way. I promise some of mine up close look like a hot mess, but it is about how it looks as a whole that everyone sees. Now, again, I'm just like when I was doing the stems, I need to double check and make sure I don't miss any. It looks like that same little red guy is getting left out again. I'm so sorry, little fella. Let me get to you. Here we go. There we go. Maybe some more, or do some black, maybe a black dot in the center, or a circle around that. Oh, I found another one I missed. It's funny, it will stand out, the ones that you don't do, because now when you've done more, it looks weird without them, without the black outline. It looks very different. So it's funny, we got used to where we were seeing the white edge, and now that I've gone through and added black, that is the last, I think that's the last of mine. Is that the last of mine? I think I might have. All right, I'm gonna let you keep working, and I'm just gonna show you the very last part, which is really easy. I need, for me, I need some fresh white. I think I got a little too mixed up. I want some good clean white, just a touch. And this is where all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my cotton swab again and just go in and add some dots that are gonna kind of be more like bubbles, almost like sparkle bubble clusters. I don't know what we're gonna call them, but they're fun. So maybe I just do a few little dots here, and maybe there's a larger one, where we can swirl our Q-tip like that. And then maybe I've got some that are kind of bubbling up from here, this point. Cotton swab, sometimes you have to dip more than once to get that. Let's see here. And again, this is going to be dependent on where your flowers are, but you can still see kind of the general places that I'm putting this as a good guide for where you might want to do some of yours. Maybe that one right there. Maybe this time I'm gonna go and travel. This is gonna give us some of that vertical height past the flowers, and our eye really likes having something that's gonna bring it up, right? So our eye is gonna come up this way, and then we're gonna have some that's gonna be kind of filling in some of the spots. Maybe that we didn't end up doing a flower, but by putting a dot there, it's filling it out, and you start to see it's amazing. Just add a few dots, and it starts to really, really come together. Yeah, that's a nice little cluster there. Maybe I'll do a couple more, kind of trailing down, our eye going down as well, right? So this is, basically this is done. I may keep always little touches and fusses sometimes when I start adding these details. It's always fun. But this is how you do this pop graphic flower garden, and I think it's really funny. Thanks for sticking through that weird middle stage, because it did look very awkward, but every painting has an awkward stage, just like all of us seem to feel like we have an awkward stage through life. So keep at it, and you're gonna do great. I'm so excited.